Rob, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'd just like to call this meeting of the Village of Gold River Council to order and start with our land acknowledgement, acknowledging that we're on the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territories of Malheur Mushlet First Nations. First item of business is introduction of late items. Councillors, anyone wish to introduce a late item to the agenda? No, thank you. Minister Roy, are there any late items that we need to have introduced?
No, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. First item, approval of agenda, that the agenda be adopted as presented. Who care to move it? Councillor Weimer. Second by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion? Call for the question. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes, that the regular meeting minutes from September 2nd, 2025 be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Fosson, second by Councillor Weimer. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Carried. Public and statutory hearings, seeing none. Moving on. Unfinished business, seeing none. Moving on. Delegations. Our first delegation is the Ministry of Forests and the Malheur Mushlet First Nations Forest Landscape Planning Update. Mr. Roy, do we have the delegation online, sir?
I believe we do.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll just give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and we'll cede the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Lott. My name is Leslie Fettis, and I'm a Director of Strategic Initiatives with Ministry of Forests, and I am the strategic lead on the West Central Vancouver Island Forest Landscape Plan. And I've got a few folks alongside me this evening. So Shane, I'll ask you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shane Simard. I'm the District Manager, Campbell River Forest Natural Resource District.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Eric.
Sure. My name is Eric Angel. I'm the General Manager for Salmon Parks, and I'm calling in from Port Alberni.
Welcome, sir.
And Bob.
Hello, my name's Bob Craven. I'm a professional forester and consultant working for the Malheur Mushlet on the Forest Landscape Plan.
Wonderful. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you.
And I believe we may see Moses Track joining from Malheur Mushlet First Nation, but I don't see him on here as yet. But if it's okay with you, I will share a presentation and get going.
We would enjoy that. Thank you very much.
Great. Oh, just had to send a request to share. Perfect. All right, can everyone see that okay?
Love your graphics and your colors.
Great, thank you.
Very beautiful.
All right, so we're here to provide an update on the work underway on a forest landscape plan on the west central area of Vancouver Island. I'm going to start with a refresher on forest landscape planning itself and what that regulatory framework looks like. Then I will get into a bit of the structure of the FLP that's underway and go over progress and some next steps, including some upcoming public engagement that we have planned. So just as an overview of forest landscape planning sits in between higher level planning, like land use planning, and tactical level operational site level planning. And so land use planning is usually broad scale, it's usually multi-sector. And the example in this area would be the Vancouver Island Land Use Plan. Sometimes we see zoning, those types of pieces. Forest landscape planning sits below higher level planning. It's single sector. It applies to forest licensees, specifically to licensees that are required to have a forest stewardship plan. And forest landscape plans are developed government to government with Indigenous nations in BC with input from public, industry, and other stakeholders. And these plans will set outcomes or targets for forest values and they will define planning guidelines that forest licensees will use to plan their site level operations. And that site level planning will carry on to be the licensee's responsibility. Those plans will be forest operations plans, and they will set out cut blocks and roads. And unlike today, where we see cut blocks come in or cutting permits come in on a one-by-one basis, forest operations plans will provide an outlook of 5 years of future planned development. So forest landscape planning was created under the Forest and Range Practices Act through an amendment in 2024. And there's 5 legal objectives that the plan has to meet. So managing the values placed on forest ecosystems by Indigenous people, managing the values placed on ecosystems by local communities, supporting the protection and conservation of the environment, supporting production and supply of timber in the forest landscape area, and preventing, mitigating, and adapting to impacts caused by significant disturbances to forests and forest health. So forest landscape plans themselves will describe where and how forest harvesting can occur. They're going to include a map or a series of maps really that show areas that have different requirements or planning guidelines and areas that are not available for forest harvesting. They will include outcomes or targets for specific forest values and planning guidelines that describe how to achieve those targets. The plan will also include a monitoring plan. So we will be required to report out every 5 years on the success of the forest landscape plan and how we're doing to achieve those targets. And that will inform development of a subsequent plan after 10 years. And so how's that different from what we're doing today? Well, the current state is forest stewardship plans, and those are developed by licensees. And generally what we see in those plans is a description of what the legal minimums are to achieve different values under the Forest and Range Practices Act. The plans are developed largely by licensees. There is a consultation period with Indigenous nations, and then there's also a public review and comment period. Forest landscape planning is really that development is being done collaboratively between Indigenous nations and government, and incorporating into that planning local public values, input from stakeholders as well. And the planning process has been set up into this 5 phases: pre-planning, values identification and assessment, plan development, plan establishment, and then the implementation and monitoring. And there's 2 places where we're required to go out to the public and seek input. And the first is at this phase 2, values identification and assessment, to ensure that the public has a chance to share what values are important to them from the forest. And then also, once we have a draft plan, we need to engage with the public at that point. That's the overview on the regulatory framework. And now we'll get into a little bit more detail on the plan that we're working on. So this is the plan area. So you'll see it goes from Cayuquet Sound, includes Nootka Island, and all the way to Strathcona Park. It does not, while the map shows it overlaps with parks, it will not apply to those park areas. We're working with 3 nations: Kaykucheklasith, Hadasat, and the Mawachit-Muchillet First Nation. And we're working at 3 separate government-to-government tables, working on territorial scale management plans that will together form that West Central Vancouver Island Forest Landscape Plan. And then just for folks who are, keeners in forestry and understand that we have a number of different forest management units, this map demonstrates we've got the North Island Timber Supply area. We've also got Western Forest Products Tree Farm License 19 within the plan area, a portion of the Pacific Timber Supply area, which is managed by BC Timber Sales. And we also have a small portion of TFL 37 that's within Mowchip-Muchlet territory that's within the plan area. And last but not least, a tiny little piece of the Arrowsmith TSA as well, Timber Supply area. And so where are we in the process? Well, we have been through phase 1. And so with each nation, we've developed terms of reference, a strategic work plan, and a common vision intentions paper. And we are now, pardon me, moving into phase 2. And so at this point, we need to engage with the public. Just a little graphic to demonstrate how we're working together and how we're incorporating feedback from the public, stakeholder groups, forest licensees, and the forest sector. So we have separate governance tables, and then as well, we have planning tables with each of the nations. And we are working, we will be incorporating licensees on a more regular basis going forward, probably following the public engagement period, as and when throughout the planning process that it's appropriate. And the public and stakeholder groups and the forest sector more broadly will be engaging at these 2 key phases, so phase 2, and then also once we have a draft plan at phase 3. So more specific to, the village of Gold River, and I'm not sure, Eric, did you want me to cover this, or do you want to take the next couple of slides? Oh, I'll carry on. Okay. So we are working closely with Mowchip-Muchlet, and I believe you're aware of their Salmon Parks project. And Forest Landscape Plan and Salmon Parks are discrete projects with different goals and objectives, but we are working very closely to make sure that planning is done in a holistic way in this area. And so we have a joint governance table with including Ministry of Forest staff and staff from the Ministry of Water, Land and Resource Stewardship, Mowchip-Muchlet Lands and Resource staff, and also Salmon Parks staff as well, to make sure that we're staying connected. Eric, did you want to take this one?
Thanks, Leslie. So Salmon Park Stewardship Society was set up by Mowchip-Muchlet First Nation in November of 23. It's a society under the BC Societies Act, and we report directly to the Council of Chiefs at MMFN, and our mandate is basically to implement the vision for stewardship in the territory. So we have a project, Salmon Parks, where we're looking at working with the province to achieve long-term conservation designations for critical salmon habitat within the MMFN territory. And at the same time, we're looking at how to develop sustainable forestry in portions of those areas as well. All the work we do is guided by those 3 fundamental principles of Nch'aneth and Mowchip-Muchlet. They Showkish Tsawak, which means everything is one, Isak, which is respect, and Uathlek, the idea of taking care. Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you. So as I've mentioned, we are embarking on public engagement this fall, and the goals specifically on the Forest Landscape Plan. And the goals of that engagement are to provide information on what forest landscape planning is to the public, and then also to seek input on the values placed on ecosystems by local communities. So we have a number of different engagements coming up, including presentations to local government. You'll see our very first. We have a number of public open houses planned for October. For Gold River, we're planning for Monday, October 27th in the Jerry Morgan Community Hall. And we will have a public survey that's open from October 1st to November 30th. And then just to summarize some of our engagement opportunities, we do have information available online and we'll be updating that closer to October 1st. As I mentioned, we have a number of open houses in all of the communities within the plan area, as well as in Campbell River. And that public survey will be available on our webpage, and we will be advertising that as well through Engage BC. Presentations upon request. So if the village or other stakeholders that you're aware of are interested in presentations, we're happy to do those. We'll also receive written submissions and bilateral or trilateral meetings upon request. And closer to October 1st, I'll send out a more formal engagement as well to the village, just with some of the information on these public opportunities. And you're welcome to fill out the public survey yourselves as well. And we're would be very happy to receive comments directly from the village through written comments as well. And that brings me to the end of our presentation. And so I will stop sharing and just open it up for any questions.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Councilors, do you have any questions you'd like to direct to our presenter? Well, well, I thought you were off easy there, but not, apparently not. Councilor Waymire.
Thank you for the presentation. So will this speed up the permitting process?
Eventually, yes. That's the hope. And well, we've got Shane Simard, who's the district manager in the Campbell River office. And Shane can speak in more detail, but the permitting in the Campbell River district is actually exceptionally quick. Staff are very diligent and experienced, and turnaround times are quite fast. However, planning has definitely been a challenge over time for forest licensees, and so having these forest landscape plans developed with direct input from Indigenous nations, input from public and other forest users will help secure that land base to provide more certainty so that licensees are better able to plan their forest operations. And maybe I'll just see it, Shane, if you wanted to add anything further to that.
Yeah, I'll just say that, permitting has been going very well in the district. We work with each licensee to kind of come up with a list of priorities for them and make sure they get them in those list of priorities. In the past 2 months, we've 94% getting our permits out in the 25-day period. That's outside of consultation. So consultation could be longer depending on agreements with nations. But overall, what we're hearing from licensees is they're happy with the turnaround time. They're getting permits when they need them. It tends to be it's the planning part that's taking a long time, and I think the FLPs are definitely going to help with that.
I don't know if any of my other colleagues wanted to add anything further.
Councilor Waymire,
Yeah,
I have a follow-up
oh.
question. Were you willing to entertain that, and then we can come back to your
Sure.
further input? Next.
Yeah, what metrics will you be looking at for, getting the permit through the system, and what are they based on?
I think, Shane, you might be best placed to answer that question.
Yeah, so our clock starts when we get a full complete submission, and that's when the 25 days starts, and we have to do all our reviews and make sure it meets all legislation during that time, and then also get consultation done. What happens is once consultation starts, the clock kind of stops for consultation, and then when consultation is finished, the clock starts again. And total processing time we have is 25 days to get the permit out and to the client or licensee. And right now, we're of the past 2 months, because it's fairly recent where it changed from 40 days to 25 days. We're at 17 out of 18 permits we've processed have met the 25-day turnaround time. I think the one that didn't was an older permit that had been kind of stuck in the system, but we managed to get it through.
Good. Follow-up, Councillor Weimer?
Yeah, I guess the 25 days sounds great, but I mean, permit start to finish used to be like 3 months-ish. Now it's like almost a year. So where's kind of the difference of 25 days to the year? Where's that big holdup?
Yeah, I'm not sure if our cutting permits are taking a year to get through. I know sometimes consultation can take a little longer, but since I've been in the position, that usually is anywhere from 30 to 60 days of consultation. And yeah, some permits that are taking longer are outside of the cutting permit are stuff like log sorts and log dumps. Those are taking a lot longer, but those are now with Walrus, not with the Ministry of Forests. But it's the planning part, the kind of getting it to submission ready is the part that takes a lot of time now.
Perfect, thank you.
Councillors, anyone else? Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. Just want to say thanks, Leslie, for your presentation, and Shane, Eric, Bob, and Moses for joining. And this is really interesting to learn about, so really appreciate you guys coming and sharing your presentation with us and starting the engagement with the public, and also offering so many engagement opportunities for people to put their opinions and voices and thoughts in. And yeah, we understand it has to be really cumbersome work and really delicate, trying to balance all the needs of the forests around us, but appreciate as residents and users of the woods and land here, all your guys' care and balancing kind of the nuances and working collaboratively and directly with the nations and getting their kind of opinions on stewardship and sustainable and habitat for our ecosystems and fish. So I look forward to learning more about it and watching the process as it goes. And thanks all of you guys for your efforts and working together and the presentation.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard.
Thank you.
Councillor Fossen, do you have any questions you want to address to the presenters? Terrific. If you don't have anything else to add to your presentation, thank you very much for coming out this evening and helping us to understand and the community understand. We appreciate your presentation and look forward to the additional presentations that you're going to be doing in Gold River. And I think if you follow the thrust of Councillor Waymar's questions, I believe that anything that your organization and bureaucracy can do to expedite the processing of applications and facilitate logging would be greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, everyone. Our second delegation is not present, so I assume that they've canceled. And unless you know something I don't know. Okay, we'll move on to the next item then. Administrative reports. 8.1 Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program. The motion is that council approves submitting a grant application to the Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program, REDIP, to support dock service and infrastructure planning, including assessment of capacity, secure access, communication systems, and payment facilitation. Who'd care to move that? Councillor Waymar. And second by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion, councillors? Councillor Waymar.
I guess more of a question to our CAO than anything else through the
Yes, sir.
chair. I guess we don't want to get too into the weeds here as far as the planning of all of this goes, but this is a priority that has been identified from our economic development plan and is a suitable first choice for our REDIP?
Yes, it is identified in our economic strategic plan, and it was what we identified was something that we can go after for a planning stage with this Reddit application. So
Perfect. That's, good enough for me. Thank you.
Councilor Wimmer, councilors, anyone else have any questions that they'd like to address to staff or any other discussion they want to take care of? Councilor Rickard.
Thank you through the chair, and thanks for the report to Chelsea, if she's listening. And yeah, this one, we always identify this as an opportunity to kind of do better and expand and maybe have some income. And there's a lot of challenges down at the water that we know that with expansion, with parking and extending the dock fingers, just with all those westerly winds and the river coming through. So I know there's lots of challenges, but it would be interesting to hopefully get a grant and just see where there are opportunities that we could maybe expand or grow or use the space we have better. And maybe just a question for the CAO. Do we know how
You're
many?
not going to call him counselor today?
Counselor.
I see you're thinking of it.
Mr. Roy, at the moment,
Go ahead.
do you know at the moment how many spots are available? Like how many are rented by MMFN for their taxis and fisheries boats? Thank you.
I don't have exact numbers. I know historically we usually have 2 MFN taxis at the fingers. As of for available space, that there's not a lot. There tends to be a lot of rafting that goes on at this time.
Any follow-up questions, Councilor Rickard? No, you're good. Councilor Boston, is there anything you wanted to address? Go ahead.
Thank you through the chair. Just a question for our CEO. On this here, as I was reading through this, I know this is preliminary, but where it says payment and user facilitation investigating systems that streamline payment, booking, and access for residents and visitors, what is the current procedure that we have right now to collect payment and to know who's using the facility?
That's very low tech and a bit of a user honesty too. We have a sign down there for people to contact the office, and we will occasionally staff will go down and check to see what's down there and compare it to the records we have.
Follow-up question.
Follow-up.
Just a
Certainly,
follow-up
Councilor.
question to our CEO. Is it when you say staff, is that like those who are already on staff or people who are hired specifically for this?
Director of Operations, would you like to weigh in?
If I may, through your worship,
Yes, sir.
it's in-house staff. We try to go down there on a weekly basis and check against the registration sheet, make sure we only have docked vessels, and then we'll put notices down. If we see unregistered boats, we'll post notices on them, alerting them of bylaw and registration requirements. But like CAO Michael Roy says, it's very much an honor system, and it's time consuming to run down there, run back, and get notices all organized. So what we're looking at is if there's a business case via economies of scale for something like a telephone system on the locked side of a gate that would allow them to contact the village office. Village office, if they contact after hours, it still rings through to an emergency phone. So it would give us the capacity to say, have it secure, only have paying guests, and give people a quick access code to get through so they can come into the village and pay and register. So that's only one component of what they're looking at within this study. A lot of it's about kind of a needs assessment and kind of evaluating like what happens during the peak hours of summer, how sustainable it is over the course of the whole year. And of course, it comes down to a business case, dollars in, dollars out. So.
Follow-up, Councilor Fossin, are you good?
I'm good for this right now. Thanks.
So from my understanding, Director of Operations, Doxy, the Village of Gold River does not employ a wharfinger down at the wharf, and we don't have a dedicated full-time employees or staff down there that monitor that for security or for collecting fees. Is that correct?
If I may again, through your worship, that's correct. Right now, it's all just in-house staff.
And that's something that the village has done historically for a long time.
Yes.
Okay. And
Sorry, your worship, but for the past several years, yes, we used to have somebody under contract, but that person declined to continue doing that. I don't think they found it was economical viable for them.
Okay.
I can't speak to their behalf, on their behalf, but that was my impression at the time. Unfortunately, this was before Director of Operations time, so he wasn't aware of that.
thank you for clarifying that. CAO, just had a couple more questions, if then I'll get back to you again. So my understanding with this grant application then is that we would be taking a look at how we're currently operating that wharf down there, the management of it, the security of it, collection of fees, manage basically growth and maybe capital investment down there for redesigning. Is that the intent behind this grant application, Director of Operations Doxy?
If I may again, through your worship, yes, it's specifically to look at the kind of the peak demand, to see if there's justification, to do things like make investments on additional dock fingers, if there's enough boats to protect down there year round for things like a breakwater, if there's again continual revenue enough to support things like that, things like the secure gated communication to the office, kind of all of it together.
Excellent. Would that also include a consideration of expansion of those facilities down there, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I know in my time that I've been here that there's always been clamoring for some attention to that asset that the Village of Gold River owns and operates. But in terms of priorities, it never really moved up the list very much in the time that I've been here. But I know there's a lot of residents who would values having a review of that and making a determination if we could expand down there, develop down there, change perhaps our operating procedures down there. So I myself would really welcome a review of this, and I'm sure that would be beneficial for council and the community to take an informed look at it and see if there's anything that we could do. And if we could access this grant, and it looks like 80% of the grant will be paid for by the provincial government. That means we'd put our 20,000 in, they put their 80,000 in. For 20,000, I think that would be a great report to help the community decide how they want to go forward with that facility down there, because it is a bit of a wild, wild west show down there. And I know that you've been very busy over the last few years actually doing upgrades down there too. We invested more than $500,000 to do structural repairs on the wharf warehouse down there. It was ready to be condemned, I think. I've also seen that you did a lot of work on the dock down there also to upgrade that. And you've had some structural assessments being done right now, and you're looking at some things that we might have to structurally down there. So as asset management, I think your team and has been on it, and I see this just as a continuation of it. So thank you, sir. And I'll be supporting this, but Councillor Boston, did you have any follow-up questions, sir? Do you want to address the Director of Operations?
Yes, thank you. Thank you through the chair. And just a question for either the CAO or the Director of Operations. Can you tell council how much it has cost the village in regards per hour or monthly for a staff member to go down there, check on it, and collect fees?
Is that something that you wanted to get back to us on? You just do that off the top of your head, Director of Operations?
If I may again, through your worship, the short answer is we don't have a way of tracking that right now. It would be something we would track in the asset management software. But right now we just don't have anything where we've tracked, when staff have gone down there. It's myself, because the complaints tend to come in after 4 o'clock. So basically the fishing fleets, the water taxis come in and somebody's in their space or perceived space. There are no designated spaces. And then a complaint comes in and, boat's unregistered, and you go down and deliver a notice. So a lot of it's been in that 4 o'clock after, or even after hours. So there's not necessarily always a hard cost. So.
Follow-up, Councillor Fossen?
Thank you, Director of Operations, for that information. I just find it amazing. we all, if we work per hour, we know how much we get paid per hour. And if you're having to work overtime, i.e. outside of the regular business hours, you would have an idea as to what you would be paying somebody per hour. I know this is just preliminary, but I'm just trying to get a big picture of about knowing that for however many years it hasn't been manned, and it's just, so is it being done voluntarily by staff? Is it the staff that are picking up and emptying the garbage bins down there that's reporting on it? How does it work after hours? Do you get out of bed? Do you go down there and check? There's a financial cost, and I'm just trying to get a big picture of that financial cost so I have an idea of, okay, we're going for this grant. We have a bar to gauge it against. It's not complaining. I appreciate the fact that the village staff are doing this. I'm just trying to get a number figure in my mind so that when we get the grant, I have something to compare it to, where the village, the community has something to compare it to.
What did council budget for that function down in the wharf in their 2025 budget? Director of Operations, Doxy or CAO? Can you tell us, is there a line item there and how much we allocated or budgeted for these functions that the councilor's inquiring about? Do we have a line item that we can point him to?
If I may, again, through your worship, I'm not familiar enough to quote it. It'd be something I'd have to research and get back to you.
That so CAO Roy, is that you said that we had a contract employee going down there in order to provide some of the services that the councilor has inquired about? What was the do you have off the top of your head? Like, I know he was kind of a blended job, looking after the campground, is also looking after the wharf at the same time. Do we have a approximate cost for what that function was? So that would help the councilor with his question.
Unfortunately, no, not based on the way the records were done at that time. Since then, we've adjusted that, so we better reflect the revenues generated versus the expense of doing that. But at that time, it wasn't done the same way, so it's not such an easy exercise to do.
So we can't provide the councilor with the information that he's requesting at this time, but we might be able to provide him with some understanding if we got this grant and we did do the report. So I don't think we can get you the answer on the question you're looking for, Councillor Fossin, but I think if you approve this grant application, we're successful for it, you get some information that would help you quantify that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Is there any other discussion that council would like to have among themselves, or any other questions you'd like to address to staff? We have a motion on the table. It's been moved and seconded. It's for the motion. Nobody wants to amend it. Everybody's happy with it. So good. No more discussion. Call for the question. All in favor? These ones are easy. We're spending the provincial government's money. I like that. If we're successful. Thank you very much. Move on to the recreation service rate review. I see that we have a motion that council increase the current rates at the Amphitic Aquatic Center by 3%, as well as the council increase the current rate at the Jerry Morgan Memorial Center by 3%. Who would care to move that? Councillor Fossin, seconded by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion? Council? Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair, and thanks Director Doxy for your really thorough and report with tons of details and just kind of showing all the different cost increases. And I support the 3% increase that you suggested. I think this is like gentle for residents, and the dime extra for the drop-ins is really well worth it. Our facilities are amazing and you guys do such a good job, and they're still accessible to, I think, most people, and we offer lots of opportunity for people at varying levels of income to enjoy them. So thanks for putting this together, and yeah, support this a gentle increase to cover the costs as they go up over time. So it's not such a big shock later if we do know small increases year after year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Any other questions or any other discussions, Council, like that? Seem pretty happy with it, or can we move on? Is there anything that you wanted to, since we don't have any questions for you, Director of Operations Doxies, anything that you wanted to address or bring to the council's attention?
If I may, again, through your worship, I don't think there's anything drastic. There's some shaded rows in the pricing spreadsheet, and those are for items that are either not utilized or haven't been utilized in a very long time, or to the point where it's become cumbersome. So things like, we'd have to modify the programming on the cash register or something like that. That gets to be kind of time consuming, and so what we're proposing is to kind of slowly evolve those out unless something comes back. But just for the sake of simplicity, so like we'll probably hide or delete the shaded rows just for a simple pricing sheet. But I didn't want to kind of have the optics of, say, deleting them from the historical representation for council. So we're not meaning to kind of pull a fast one or anything.
I'm good with it. Follow-up, Councillor Pickard?
Thank you through the chair. And then that campground will be next year, starting next year, the campsite fees will go to that 25. I guess. I don't know.
That's correct. Or actually, the fees in here are effective right away. So
Okay.
we'll communicate with our campground
Yeah.
host and get them adjusted.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you through the chair. Just for clarification, campsite fees, that's for the Gold River campsite?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
You good, Councillor Raymer? All discussion, we're exhausted. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Moving on. I think this is the one that you were inquiring about, Councillor Foster. Naloxone Provincial Pilot Project, and the motion is that council direct staff to participate in the province's naloxone pilot project. Would you care to move it? Councillor Foster, second by Councillor Waymeyer. Discussion, council? Councillor Foster.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to staff for persevering in this, and it's nice to finally see that there is a possibility for us to, if we approve this, to be a part of the provincial pilot project. So thank you to the staff for their work on this.
Director of Operations Doxy, I appreciate your report, sir. I question your locations. The pool I support, I don't actually know if they have the data to support putting naloxone down at the transfer station, sir. What do you have to support that recommendation? Because I can see other areas like the recreation center, which are far more used, that would, I think that might be better. But I'll let you make your argument, sir. Or is it just kind of like you picked a couple out of your hat?
If I may, again, through your worship, it's kind of a big hat, but I picked it because of basically the reports and feedback. It's a site that has the public coming into it. They're not always coming in their Sunday best to the transfer station. So it is a site where we do have people come that are occasionally seemingly under the influence of drugs and or alcohol.
Okay.
Whereas other places like the village office, people tend to not come to pay their taxes or their water bill when they're maybe under the influence. So I picked locations where I thought we had the highest propensity for somebody to need help. It isn't necessarily exclusive, but they could, I guess the direction could be augmented. We could house them in the arena. We could house them in the pool.
You would have my support if you went the arena pool, as well as if you believe that there's a history or there's a risk down at the transfer station. I wouldn't take it away from there, but I definitely would like to see it at the arena too, because it's a highly populated area. I know from history that there's people in there that are different states that you're dealing with. Plus you have a bar down there. I think that would be a site that I'd like to see naloxone kits at, and staff trained to be able to use it. So if your report was modified just to include the the recreation center too, like the aquatic center, recreation center, and the transfer station and any other furniture places. Like we leave flexibility with staff. I wouldn't lock you guys down to it if you felt that, you know, there was a breakout at the who knows where, and you felt that it was appropriate to have it there. Certainly wouldn't want to put a restriction on you. I'd like to have you guys to be able to respond to that. But I would like to see 3 sites. If you don't have any objection to that, then you think that's something you include in there, then you'd have my support.
If I may again, through your worship, absolutely not. It would be perfectly agreeable to house them in those locations.
Perfect. Council, do you want any more discussion on this? Any more questions that you want to address? You're happy, Councillor Fossin? You've waited for a while for this one?
Yes, thank you to the chair, and I do as well agree with you that we do need it to have that at least 3 sites, both sports and FIDIC in the Jerry Memorial Center. So thank you for suggesting that.
Do you have anything else you'd like to speak to? Okay, great. Exhausted that. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Moving on, BC Lung Foundation air monitoring. The motion is that council direct staff to participate in the BC Lung Foundation Carter's project. I know we've had an opportunity to talk about this in the past. And I think in the past we approved it. I don't know exactly, I can't remember exactly, but I know that this came up and I think council supported it. And I'd like the report that the director of operations has put together. But anyways, I guess we have to get this moved. Who care to move it? Councillor Fossin, or excuse me, Councillor Wimmer, second by Councillor Fossin. Discussion. I like everything. Was there a particular reason why you chose the arena as the site for locating your sensor, sir? Director of Operations, Doxy?
If I may, through your worship, primarily for the simplicity of access to an electric plug-in, horizontal building face with 180-degree access to open air and wireless internet ability to upload the data that it measures.
Seems like a good location to me. And are we providing the room for them to do their public presentation down there for free? Is that something that we're doing a facility fee waiver on? Director of Operations, Doxy?
I don't believe we've been requested, but they do have the facility booked and are setting up. So
Okay, so I'm not going to push it. If they want to send us some money, I'll take it. I just wasn't too sure. Yeah, and I like the idea. It looks like it's got a fairly good response too so far from what I've seen from the community. Okay. Yeah, I was in favor of it back then when we had discussion, and for the various reasons, I'm still in favor of it. So how do you folks want to have more discussion, or just want to call for the question? No, seeing more discussion, call for the question. All in favor? Perfect, done. Reports from council. Councillor Fossin, would you like to lead us off, sir?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Pickard,
Thank you through the chair.
you're welcome.
Just a quick report on some fishing stuff,
Mhm.
fishery stuff.
It's going to be easy for me. It's my report's your report.
I'm letting you talk about that one.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So Mayor Lott and I had a really great opportunity last Thursday to host island mayors out here. They came all the way on a field trip from Great Seafood to a Great Seafood, the hatchery and a seaside. But it was a special trip for mayors only that I got to be along. So Mayor Lott can talk about it in his report.
Deputy Mayor for the day.
Yeah. So Mayor Law will cover that. And then also just in other news, the Canuma Hatchery has been doing all their brood collection on 6 different rivers in the area. They're called Canuma Hatchery, but they support 6 river systems. And they just last week did 2 days up the Berman and then 2 days on the Gold River. And I was in touch with them today, and they've got all their targets in all the rivers. So yeah, all their targets. And it was a great collaboration with some residents, Nukasant Watershed Society, MFN, Salmon Park, some Great Seafood crew. So a really neat community event that hopefully helps to support our fisheries out front here. So hopefully this is the only year that we had that closed and weren't able to fish. And hopefully their egg takes all go good, and sounds like it's going well.
Were you able to attend?
I was unable
You
to.
didn't get to lasso any fish?
No,
You
but
missed out.
the conditions were really good, like not too much rain, good water conditions, and they got all their targets and more. So hopefully that's a good sign for our future fishing seasons.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Councillor Pringle is not with us this evening. Councillor Waymire.
Nothing to report. Should be a busy next week for the two of us, and I'm sure I'll have a ton more to say at our next meeting.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, sir. And just to follow up on Councillor Pickard's presentation is, yeah, I was also invited to welcome the mayors from Central Island to come into Gold River to view Griggs operations. So they wanted to see how the hatchery and their sea operation, their sea pen operations work, because I think they themselves are looking for additional economic opportunities in their communities. And that's something that interests them because they're coastal communities also. So they were quite impressed with the how professional they are down there, how well organized they are down there, how technologically advanced their processes are. And they all spoke very highly of the industry from what they observed. And so it also helps us with our advocacy initiatives, because once you get a lot of counselors on board from Central and North Island that also support aquaculture, not everybody supports aquaculture. You know, there's other people have different views, but if you get enough of the mayors that are on board when you're talking to other levels of government, it can help in making your arguments and for why that industry is valuable and sustainable and growable. So it was a pleasure to be able to participate in that and host them. I was just part of it. We were the meet and greet. We didn't do the technical stuff. All the folks that were down there in Grieg are they're very, very knowledgeable, and they took them through the hatchery and showed them the, what was it, 3 million fish they had on the go there. So there's 3 million fish that were being processed. They showed them the fish actually coming out from, you know, the mature ones and going through the chutes and out to the dock and into the boats to be loaded out, to be taken out to the fish farm. So it was quite, I think, an informative day for all of them. And the feedback that we got from their managing director was that everybody was very impressed with the day that they had. So they enjoyed the Gold River hospitality that we're well known for, as well as the tour that they got. They thought it was very well done, and it was very professional, and they were well taken care of. So yeah, I'm glad I got a chance to participate in that, and I hope there's some fruit that bears from that in the future for Gold River in terms of our economy. So that an industry that might be able to find a way to survive and to grow in Gold River and Nooka Sound, because I think it's an important industry moving forward, but it's under siege, that's for sure. That's about it for me. Information items. Let's see, where are we? Um, 10-1, the Anfitic Aquatic and Sports Center and Jerry Morgan Memorial Center reopening plan. And it's moved that the recreation facilities reopening report received for information. Who care to move it? Councillor Waymire, seconded by Councillor Pickard. I was down there today, and I was really impressed with yourself and your staff down there and how you're managing the transition from your summer program to your fall winter program. It's just the amount of stuff that you guys are trying to tackle with the limited resources that we provide you with never fails to amaze me. So Director of Operations, Doxy, to you and your staff, compliments. I know that we always are constantly looking for efficiencies, as we call it, but in your game is probably asking you guys to do more with less. So, and we appreciate that you take on that challenge. I really hear whining, bitching, complaining about that. I usually hear, yeah, let's get on it. You know, we know that it's we're all in the same boat together. And if we don't figure out how to provide those services as efficiently as possible and as economically as possible, we lose them. And I can see that your team is sold on that idea. They're dedicated to the idea. And I watched them getting the pool up and running, getting the arena up and running, getting our curling started, closing down our parks, closing down and winterizing our irrigation systems and everything. And the demand that we put on a few people is a lot. And we do appreciate all the efforts that you guys, especially at this time of year, because this is a high demand period for you guys. So yeah, and it does look good. I don't know if you know or not, but Mick is telling people that we're going to be skating on Wednesday night. So I guess we'll see how fast you can build your ice up. I know you got all your lines in. I don't know if you got enough ice there yet. Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. And yeah, I agree with Mayor Law. Thanks, Director Doxey, for the report, but also all your team and staff for all the work they do and managing both openings kind of quite close together. And mostly thank you. Now I have a date, October 6th, to put on the calendar because the girls, each three asked probably 300 times each when the pool's opening a day. So you just saved me hours of answers. I can put October 6th, and everyone's really excited for that to open for the fall. So thank you guys for all the work getting that done. And also thanks for the information, the details about the summer. It's always good to know. Remember when we first were talking about that and should we have it open or not? But 250 people going and having a chance to work out and improve their physical and mental health.
Been a lot of
and
tourists down there.
some visitors too, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
right.
great, and great that it's not with negligible expense. And so thanks for the summer staff for making that happen for the residents. I know it's improved some of their quality of life and workout regimes throughout the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Any other councillors like to weigh in? I did enjoy reading your report. Brought back memories for me, but I was looking at all the things that you tasked yourself and your employees with down there, and you guys had a very busy summer. We often forget that during the summer, the inside employees, mostly folks that are working in the arena, get reallocated to parks, and they get reallocated to the outdoor activities, and they still have to get those buildings ready for the fall startup. So they're constantly working outside and then trying to find time to address the things that and you can see the list is fairly extensive that they need to get done during the summer. And yeah, it never fails to impress me on watching these people juggle their time, and you watch you guys juggle your resources so that you can make sure you get all of these things that need to be done so that we can open successfully in the fall. And the reason I say open successfully in the fall is I just read a report from my colleagues from Squamish. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but their arena's down and they've got a disaster on their hands. It could be months and months before they rectify it. And their people are traveling all the way to Burnaby, Langley, Whistler for ice events and their pools. So it's important. It's hard. It's difficult sometimes to keep these buildings functional during the off season and have them ready to open your doors on the 6th of October or on Wednesday for skating. So I really appreciate all the work that's gone in over the summer and all things that you've got done. It looks really good. And I was really impressed with something that I never got around to doing when I was down there is having the handicap doors now in the aquatic center and making it handicap accessible. That was really awesome. Is there anything else that you'd want to bring to our attention about your summer activities other than the extensive list that you already shared with us there, Director of Operations, Doxey? You don't have to pat yourself on the back, but if there's anything else that
No,
you think that would be valuable for council to know that you wanted to add at this time, we'd love to hear from you.
No, I think you guys have covered it. The opening days, I think, are probably the big ones for the pool, October 6th, and the rink on the 16th, and curling rink or the curling sheets on the 6th of October. And yeah, we try not to cherry pick a bunch of low root fruit, but we try to illustrate that there are some larger scale maintenance activities that take place during the summer. We'd try not to do we swept the foyer and
no. Yeah, these are projects that keep old buildings still viable so that our citizens can enjoy the services, because if you don't get 150 years out of a normal 50 to 100-year building, that's not good for Gold River. So we appreciate all the efforts you do because they extend the life of those buildings and the functionality of those buildings, and all those buildings. I'm grateful, for folks in the past who worked really diligently too, because we don't have any debt on those buildings. All those buildings are owned by the village, and we don't have to pay to finance any of those. We own them. Other than when we see your tangible capital report, we'll probably faint, but when we find out how many hundreds of millions of dollars worth of capital are down there right now. But yeah, that's another day. For today, I'll just rejoice in what you guys have done and leave it at that. Terrific. So I guess at this point, it's call for the question. All in favor? Passed. 10.2, work in progress. The council received the work in progress for information. You care to move it? Counselor Waymar, second, Counselor Pickard. Any discussion, Counselor? Nope, move on. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried, done. Reports to committees, none. Bylaws, none. Correspondence, quite honest, I didn't really read the correspondence. Is there anything in there that we need to think about? Director, no, I guess CAO, right? We've lost, our director has pulled himself out of the line of fire now.
The correspondence is all UBCM related, your worship.
Thank you. So we're just received for information then. Cool. Any, who wants to move it? Counselor Pickard, Counselor Fossin second. Any discussion? Counselor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. Since you didn't read it, there's a couple interesting things from the, it's brief.
Give me the.
It's brief, but it's the Coles notice. It's really interesting. So the city of Prince George has 5 different resolutions that they kind of brought to everyone's attention. And one thing that I thought was so interesting was that there's over 69,000 law enforcement officers in Canada, and only 150 can be conservation officers. So in all of BC and all the hunting and everything going on, there's only 150
Those hunters are
conservation
really
officers.
You should say yes, you're in hunting country.
Yeah, right. So they're just asking kind of for more funding to focus on natural resource, law enforcement, human wildlife conflicts prevention, and illegal dumping, which you realize like how big their scope must be if there's only 150 in BC. And then one that's a little bit relevant to Gold River, which would be kind of interesting that to get passed there, was this request increase in funding for libraries in BC. And I know our library here, we're constantly wanting, this is close to home, Councillor Waymire, we have a lot of numbers, a lot of users, and constantly wanting more funding and more hours for the library and funding for staff for kind of more full-time positions. So this is a great resolution, and the facts there are kind of interesting too, and they pulled them out since 2009, despite BC's population growing 29%. The funding for public libraries has remained unchanged in BC, so limiting expansion for programs and evolving programming. So their ask is to increase the budget on a yearly basis with CPI, with inflation, and also an immediate ask for 30 million. So big ask, but also interesting for the libraries.
Good luck. I like to
Yeah.
be the longest.
Those two stood out, so thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion on the item? Correspondence? Nope. Call for the question. All in favor? We're good. New business, none. Question period. Gallery, any of you ladies or gentlemen want to address any questions to council? Nope. I'm glad to hear that. See you, Roy. No online. Wow, we're zipping to the finish line on this one. Like it. No, so motion, none. Motion to adjourn in camera, nope. Rise and report, no. Oh, I like this one. It was one of my favorites. Motion to adjourn. Who would care to make it? Councilor Ramirez, seconded by Councilor Fossin. All in favor? We don't need discussion on that. We're done, folks. Thank you very much. And thank you again for all coming out. I appreciate that. And yeah, thanks for sticking around, Director of Operations.